2003 Hayabusa. It's running hot, like a lot of you guys are having the same problem. I ordered from Schnitz Racing the temperature sensor, which turns on the fan at a lower temperature, so it kind of like avoids the problem with overheating, running hot, the hot start problems. Supposedly, that's supposed to be one of the fixes. So that's where your temperature sensor is. It's on the left side of your bike. And I recently added new antifreeze and water wetter. So normally you would just drain it out and whatever, but I'm just gonna siphon it back into a container and then throw it back in, because that's below the level. So once you start unscrewing that, you're gonna have a mess. So you might as well try to catch it all as best you can before that screws into your radiator. So we're gonna unscrew that. I'm gonna siphon some of the antifreeze out so that I don't make a mess with this when I pull this out. That's the replacement piece from Schnitz Racing. Let's see if it has a part number. It was a part number, whatever. And that's it. Takes a little bit of finagling with the wiring. After that, we'll show you. I'm gonna do this in pieces because I don't have a stand for the camera. So, but that's the first step. First step is get all your side covers off. Drain out your radiator, or at least drain it down low enough where you could get the temperature sensor off without making a mess. And then pull the old one off, put your new one on. And like I said, I'll do this in sections, so that's what we're doing here. That's the first piece. Guess what happened? All right, I thought I took out enough. I didn't take out enough. But if you're wondering, before you start working, what size socket will you need for that, or wrench? 24. All right, it's too bright out here. There you go. 24. Made in USA, baby. On a jet bike. So that's 24. Make absolutely sure you get it all out. And I gotta clean this crap up too. I'm gonna have to pour that out right into the container. So that's that for now. Okay. These are the instructions from Schnitz Racing. It's pretty simple. Drain it out. Blah blah blah. You're gonna have to pull the wires off of this plug, off the that plug, which is your stock plug, because the new one and the old one are completely different. I heard that you could get a Honda, I don't know what model it is, but there's a Honda temperature switch you can just clip off when you go to junkyard or whatever, clip it off and just add it here. It's like another 30 bucks. It's gonna be under this rubber boot anyway, so I don't care. So just so you know, it ain't gonna fit the same. Okay, but you got great instructions here from Schnitz. You can pause it if you want. They got pictures. That's the stock. Well, that would be the one here. So it's rounded. So it's showing you pull off the wires, stuff the wires in there, and they even have shrink wrap tubing, heat shrink tubing. I left it in the packaging so I don't fly all over the place. I'm working out on the sidewalk out here in the winter. One of the great things of being a New Yorker. But all right, so you got instructions. You got pretty good instructions. Read your instructions. Basically, you're gonna pull the wiring out of this boot connector, and then you're just gonna plug it in directly, pretty much like you see here. And then you see they added, you could add some silicone or RTV or whatever, or I think I saw online somebody just a picture of it where they just take this and just fold it over and zip tie it down to lock it in. Well, that's it so far at this point. Okay, so how do you get these wires out of here without cutting it off and all that and ending up, you want to end up with that. That's what you want. How do you get that? Give me 1 second. On the housing here, maybe it's better to show you this piece. There is, it's almost like spring loaded in there. What you do is you get something pointy, wedge it on this side, and it unlatches, and that'll help you pull this out of the housing so that you don't have to cut your wiring or anything, and then you could just use this same plug to plug into the new one. temperature switch. So what's the heat shrink tubing for? It's basically insulator for these connectors. You're going to insulate them because inside here, inside the switch, see how close it is? So you don't want any arcing or anything like that when you pop these in. And the solution to that is insulate them, and then they're going to be individually, basically individual micro connectors, I guess you could say. So that when you connect them, you don't have to worry about arcing or them touching each other or whatever. So that's what I'm doing next. I'll show you what it looks like. You see a problem here? Heat shrink is a little too long. I don't want to pull the rubber off. It would be easier if I could just slide the heat shrink over the rubber boot, but I don't. It doesn't fit over it, and I don't want to try to pull it off or cut it off, because as you can see, this connector is actually mounted onto the rubber. So I'm going to use the high-tech system of figuring out where I want to cut, so that it's just about the end of the connector, and we'll go with that. So just so you're planning ahead, you're going to need that's what they look like before I shrink them. You can see that they're pretty close to the end here, and that way you don't have to worry about them touching each other or the like I said, any kind of sparking or whatever like that. So that's that so far. They look like after you heat shrink them. So now they won't come off. They're actually sealed to the rubber boot, which is probably a good thing, and you should be able to just use that as your plug. Alright, let's see if we can do this on video. Yes, this fucking string looks stupid. I don't know what that somebody put it there for. I think they use it as a spacer or washer. Alright, so that's that anyway. Here goes one. Which is the positive and negative? That's a good question. We'll find out if I fucked up. Stay tuned. If I do an update, then I fuck this up. This is a little bit hard in my hand. In? Or is this? What if that's not it? What if the shit's sideways? Yep. Saw that? It actually went the wrong way, and well, you didn't see it, but it went in the wrong way. Let me work on this with two hands. I'll get back to you. Now it's in. When it slides in, you should be able to really feel that it's going in really well. Let me try to hold the camera to explain what happened. The connector is rectangular, or blade pretty much. So then the socket, instead of it fitting in right, fitting in the right way, it ended up sliding along the outside of it, and it was inside the shrink wrap. So I almost couldn't tell that it wasn't on correctly. So be careful when you're putting it in. If you don't put it on right, it may slide along the outside of the connector, be still in the shrink wrap, and that may cause a problem. Make sure you're putting it on correctly. Like I said, when it's slid on the right way, you actually really could feel that it was going on correct. That's what it looks like so far. It's on. How many inch pounds? I don't know. Put it on until it felt tight and not too tight, because it's going into aluminum. People are saying, I don't think there's going to be enough to fold this over. I saw somewhere on the internet where somebody folded this over and zip tied it here. It doesn't look like I got enough free plate to do that. So this may be it for now. That might be pretty much the inside. Actually, you know what? That is going to be it. That's it. Between that and the boat, that's where she stays. If it gives me a problem later, then maybe I'll make an update, but it's looking like it. So that's your Schnitz Racing Oh, what was that wire for? I don't fucking know. Schnitz Racing. Fan temperature switch, radiator temperature switch. This is the one that's supposed to turn the fans on at a lower temperature. Got 2 extra ones in case you melt it. The instructions say don't use a lighter, and I use a lighter, but it worked out fine. I just think they just don't want you to melt it and fuck it up. But so that's it. So far so good. I'm gonna add a fan. I'm gonna show you guys that when I play with the wiring. But that's how you switch your temperature switch.